Welcome to Holistic Human Performance Podcast. My name is Gena Bradshaw, where we talk all things holistic health, wellness, spirituality, fitness, meditation, energetics, and so much more to help you become the healthiest version of yourself. Let's dive in. This is not medical advice. This is simply to help you on your journey through health, fitness, and wellness. I hope this helps. You can complement this with anything that you are doing currently in your life. Enjoy. It's here. Reclaim Your Health Academy is officially open and launched. If you are sick and tired of feeling sick and tired, if you are scared because you're genetically predisposed to disease, if you want to make lifestyle change and you have no clue where to start, especially wanting to make a holistic swap in your life, look no further. Welcome to Reclaim Your Health Academy. I am teaching you all of the things that I learned while I was going through my cancer journey and after in survivorship that truly helped heal my body. We are going to transform your health, your energy, and your life on a mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, and energetic level. We start January 8th for our live coaching program, where you will be with like-minded individuals who want to truly make change in their life because they know that they are worthy of it, and so are you. I hope to see you there. You can head on over to www.holistichumanperformance.co/academy. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Holistic Human Performance Podcast. I'm your host, Gena Bradshaw, and today we have a very special guest. We have Sarah Stone with us today. She is the CEO of Intentional Living Magazine. She's an author as well. She wears many hats. I found out you're a photographer and luxury consultant. And yeah, we had a conversation on the phone, and you know, your story is intriguing. We really got along with so many commonalities, and I'm so glad that I can interview you, and I'm happy for you to be here. So welcome, Sarah Stone.
Thank you so much for having me. And it's an absolute honor. And it's just like a continuation of the conversation that we had, that we said we could just speak all day about the similarities and everything that we've got in common. So I'm really excited for this podcast in particular.
Yes, welcome. Okay, so I want to start off, introduce yourself to the listeners, tell us who you are, what you do, and then we'll take it from there.
Would love that. So yeah, I'm Sarah Stone, and you can probably hear by the accent that I'm not originally from Brooklyn. I am from the UK, and we've lived over in the US now, Long Island specifically, and we've been here for 5 years. But prior to that, that's where the many hats come from. So my self-employed career actually started back in probably about 2007, where I had a passion for photography, and it came out of going into a corporate office one day and just listening to the ladies that were counting down the days to their retirement. And I'm like, I cannot do this. I can this cannot be my life. There is so much life to live. And I was like, I want to do photography because it was this creativity running through me. And so I had a conversation with my husband. He was like, we've got a mortgage to pay, we've got bills to do, all of this. And so he said, no, he said, if that's something that you want to pursue, go out and do it. If you can replace that income that you had, that you were working in your corporate career, done deal. And I've never ever looked back waxing. So I'll go back on the history, but fast forward to today, it's actually all of the past experiences, all of the many hats have actually rolled into one big, gigantic hat to go on to create Intentional Living magazine, which has been formed from off the back of the book, really. So I did a book called Live What You Love, which I'm sure we'll have a chat about as well. From all of those experiences, like being in the office of somebody counting down the days to retirement, it's like a prison cell of like Xing off that next day. I was like, there's so much more to life than this. So it started with the book where it was all about living with intention, whether it be about your relationships, whether it be about your home, whether it be about your wellness, whether it be about your own version of success. It was like a starting point for this intentional vision for your life, for your home, and for your business. And then there was so much good feedback from that. We're saying, we want to know more, we want to know more. So I started writing, and I was starting writing for magazines, sharing, doing podcast interviews like this. And I was like, do you know what? There's so much potential here, not just to talk about living with intention, but to share tips, wisdom, advice, but also not just from myself, but through some of the amazing people that I've met over in the UK, here in the US. So I was like, how can I make this even better? And so an online platform was birthed. It started with the articles and sharing people with what they do, different modalities and different ways of living lifestyle, to it now being a seasonally published magazine that goes out there where it features contributors, where we're talking about lifestyle hacks or well-being hacks or nutritional information. And it's been a whole home now for different topics of really, really starting to live with intention. So that's where it's at right now.
Amazing. So why don't you take us back a little bit on this journey? Because everyone has a story, and I like to ask all of my interviewees this question. So what got you on to learning about intentional living, wellness and health? Kind of what brought you to that side of the
Yeah,
fence?
that's juicy. And it is juicy because it came from actually the lowest points of that real massive life transition of from moving from the UK to the US, where I had to close down my photography studio. I had a business called Female Success Network, where we were helping over 8,000 women like pursue their version of success. But my visa meant when we first moved here, I could only be my husband's wife. I mean, he came here for his job. So it came
Mm,
with a restriction of like, you can't do business. And I'm like, that's the only thing I know. That's like what, so being stripped of that in a way and starting from scratch and leaving family, leaving friends, and also kind of like going through early menopause at that same time, which I didn't realize that was what it was. It was like a life bomb had gone off. And with so many things going on, it was a case of living it, really living through those tough times of health complications, of like home complications, and then bringing in COVID at the same time of all of that as well. Life literally did kind of spin out of control, and it has been the lowest point, and it definitely was the lowest point. Not being able to pinpoint what something was in particular, to a point of I was walking down the road, and my husband Andy said, something has to change. Like, you've lost your zest for life, you've lost your sparkle, like you need to get the Sarah back. And I'm like, I do, because he said, you're going to have to go and see somebody. And I was like, I'm not self-medicating, I'm not going to
yeah.
sit there. There's something in me that can happen here. And it came at a time when I actually created a modality after training with feng shui. I created my own modality called creative feng shui. So it was more about a lifestyle energetic grid of giving you these, if if you in the coaching world, you say about the coaching, the life circle of like what matters most. And it's pretty much like that, but it was
Mm,
for life, home, and business, because I wanted an evolution of Female Success Network, because we know that it's not just all about the success, because if you're so busy focusing all of your energy on success, your relationships are going to suffer, or your health is going to suffer. So what was created with creative feng shui was this whole life map and life grid for life, home, and business. And so there was a bit of an educational piece that had to go on there of like everybody thought that they had to rearrange furniture in their home. And I'm like, no, 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 this is such a bigger thing. This is like your energy and how you want your home to support you, but how you can set your business up for success. So it just felt like those very next steps of what Female Success Network was. And that's what evolved into me trying to translate creative feng shui not being something that you have to change your home into a Chinese tat shop. It's a strategy for life. It's like being more intentional about where you focus your energy can get you where you want to faster. And it was a very, very natural progression to try and sort of like evolve and pivot in a way to actually name it something that everybody could resonate with. And if everybody started to live with intention, so many more positive changes could be made. And I was like, that's what it's got to be. It's got to be intentional living. So now it infuses a little bit of creative feng shui, a little bit of life strategy, a little bit of success, like pursuing success. And it comes into this home of intentional living. And that's what the magazine kind of encapsulates, of bringing people with different modalities that we can get to a stage where we can kind of like self-scan what we need and what we want to focus on. So that's the reason of why it's come today, is like actually living through the life storms to bring it through and have an expression of being able to share the good times, the bad times, and actually everything in between, that it can potentially help others, and collaborating with others that they can share their information as well.
Wow. That's incredible. And I mean, this is, right up my alley. Everything, and why I wanted to have you on, because intentional living is so key to, number one, your health,
Yep.
and number two, every aspect of your life. You literally need to, because then you're not mindful, you're not present, you're not sharing what you want, sharing your desires, you're not, creating
Mhm.
the life that you want to live. And what a waste is that?
Totally. And I think the how you're listening to this right now, and the season that you're listening to this, is perfect, because as we go into a new year, the habit of the new year is all about new year resolutions, isn't it? It's all about that. And in previous years, I've always said the revolution of the resolution, because we do that thing where you start it and you never finish it. It always actually goes off. But actually, if you start your year with an intentional vision for how you want that to unfold for you, and you take intentional inspired action off the back of it, how can you fail? Because there's no expectation, but it's got an intentional vision behind it that has meaning, that it has a reason, it has purpose, it has such the positivity behind it that you can keep momentum on the things that matter the most to you, instead of just doing a fad diet, or instead of just putting a goal out there, where actually the word intention changes the dynamic of how you start to do something.
Yes. And if more people knew this key, really, this is a key to life.
Yep.
If more people would just create more mindful, present, intentional living in their day, they could change anything and everything that they want, desire in their life, including their health, including healing yourself of cancer, including all of the things under the sun.
Yep.
And I'm so glad that you have created something so important to other people, because truly it speaks to me. Like I just love having conversations like this, because they're deep, they're meaningful. And let's be real, other people in their mind, they're thinking, oh wow, yeah, my life is in an absolute shitstorm. Like I need to figure this out.
But this is the point. So there's two key takeaways in like the reason for living in this way. And the first one is making conscious choices. It encourages you to be very conscious, because we live in all, like we say, is there 2% of your day that you can actually be very conscious about? So we can be very in the routine of life very easily. But
Mm,
actually by actually adopting this modality, this lifestyle change, this lifestyle hack, whatever you want to put on it. It's about making conscious choices, that how you spend your time, who you spend the time with, what is important to you, why it's important to you, what does that mean if you do that? And every day you get to make that conscious choice. And then the second part of that, which sort of like piggybacks on the back of it, is to take responsibility for what it is that you want, because no one else is going to save you, or no one else is going to change or redefine how you feel about something, whether it is your health, whether you are going through those tough times. When it comes to the heart of everything, it's like you are that person that has absolutely everything that you need to reframe your situation, redefine what that looks like for you. And we've both got our stories on how we redefine our life, whether it becomes to health or how people feel about certain topics. It's like you have to take responsibility for that, and being intentional and being conscious about your choices is the biggest toolkit that you can have in your back pocket to make those positive changes.
Absolutely. So speaking of changes, I have two questions. First
Yeah.
question,
Yeah.
what was the first thing you did to change Sarah when you came into the US and you had this conversation with your husband? What was the next step for you?
I created space. I
Mm,
created headspace, I created heart space, and I actually created space in my environment as well. And when I
mm,
say environment, that was relationships that were just, they were just no longer serving me. It was pulling me down and back into a place, and it was actually preventing me from creating new relationships in the new environment that I was in, creating new life. So creating space is like the biggest thing. Head space to think, heart space to kind of breathe, and environmental space to create space for new beginnings and new opportunities. Number one, always sort of like taking that time, and then giving myself that kind of like setting up my environment for success as well.
mm,
So like it's really sort of like, because then you've got time to think, and you're thinking, what do I need? Like, how can you replenish your energy? How can we get back on top here? And I actually went on a really huge healing journey. It was very serendipitous. It was like when Andy had said to me, you need to go and do whatever you need to do to go and get the Sarah back. And that's exactly what I did. I thought I was going back to the UK to do a photo shoot for a healing practitioner. She said, can you come to the UK? Can you come and do a photo shoot for me in Glastonbury? Now, if you've ever heard of Glastonbury in the UK, it's like it's the home of spirituality. It's on the ley lines. It's just the energy of that space of is just potent, like, and magical. So I was like, I'll definitely go there. I've always loved to visit. And when I arrived, we were actually staying in a temple, and we were staying in a room above the main temple as well. So you walk through and you just feel it in every ounce of your heart and your soul and everything within your being. And I remember standing in the room, and she said, Sarah, we're not here to do the photo shoot. This is your weekend of healing. I am going to teach you. I'm even getting goosebumps even thinking about it
I
now.
have goosebumps.
Yeah. And she said, there is no photos that taking place. Here are your tuning forks. And she gave me a collection of sound healing tuning forks. And she said, we are going to spend the next 3 days going through the sound healing, going through each of the tuning forks, and we are going to raise your vibration, girlfriend. And we went to the top of the tour, and we always said we always forked ourselves.
Yeah.
And it is, and then it's because, and it's just that is just the most special magical gift that someone has given me. And there's a whole profound story about how that, and if we meet in person one day, I'll share it with you. But it's just such, actually the book does share it as well. So it's in there. And I just felt, as I was leaving Glastonbury, I felt like I was leaving the fragmentations behind, and I was actually kind of going through my own kind of rebirth. I felt the fragmentation coming back in, and it went from being in a cocoon and shaking to feeling I need to sleep, to going to sleep for probably 5 minutes at the most, to waking. And by the end of the car journey, I was like, and what about this, and what about this, and what about this? She was like, look at you, like, look at you. And the next day I was with Marie Diamond from The Secret, and she was giving,
Wow.
yeah. So I was doing a conference, and she was giving an example of vibration and energy. And she got me on stage and she said, I want to show you the difference of vibration and energy. She picked two ladies. There was me and there was another lady. And she said, this is showing that we all operate on different frequencies. And
Mm.
this is no offense to either one of you, but I want to show you the difference because I feel this vibration from you. And I think we all feel it when we meet people. And she stood next to one lady who was very calm. She had a few things going on in life, and her like dowsing rods were just like going very gently spinning around. And it was like, yeah, it's great. And she said, and now I'm going to show you this. And she came to stand next to me, and they went ding 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 ding. It was going round like so fast. And she said, and this lady is fizzing. And I think, like, when we meet in person or I meet people, they always say it feels like you're fizzing with like excitable energy of and that's what came back from that healing. She's like, look, and I was like, if you'd have met me 3 days ago, it would have been the complete opposite. And I think that's the evidence that was needed, that everything is energy, and you get to focus that energy, you get to change that energy, and you get to heal that energy as well.
Mm. Yes, facts.
Yeah.
Energy medicine is so potent. You literally cannot have one without the other. Energy is a part of everything and it connects us all. I mean, that's incredible that you were invited, told that it was a photo shoot, and then it was like, nope, just kidding. This is actually your healing and rebirth. Come
Yeah,
on in.
I know.
And I will say, I sound is one of my tools. That's like what I use on most of my clients and students. Tuning forks are unbelievable. They get down to the source to stabilize your energy and clear it so that your energy points are actually moving at a steady frequency. You're now at homeostasis. It clears, it cleanses. Sound literally, if you are in your home and you want to clear out energy, literally just start using tuning forks or the sound bowls, and like you are able to clear the energy in your home. It's phenomenal. And humans, we have very erratic energy. So to find tools that are going to work for you are super important. And to bring back, Sarah, what you said, it's a matter of like knowing what you need in the moment, in the time. That is most important. You know your energy so well that you can be like, I need to take a 5 minute nap, or I need tuning forks right now. I need to go for a walk out in nature. You need to literally know yourself so well and your energy so well that you can answer those questions.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with it anymore. And I think what was beautiful about the tuning forks, of how I learned that, is that it always starts off with the om, which is like the creation of sound, the balancing.
The
So you
balance.
know that if you always have something that you go to, and how it was described, of like, if you saw audio that like peaked and dipped and went
Yeah.
up and down. Actually, the aim of that is to bring the flow, that it's easily flowing through. And it just made so much sense. And even if I don't have the tuning forks, I'll put the Salgretho frequencies from YouTube on, that'll
Yep.
just a high, and it just makes such a difference. And it's kind of like really balance the whole thing out. And I think it's so important and so useful for people to know that even just putting your favorite music on can change up the vibe. There's a reason for it. It's called so. And I think that was like the wow moment, really, of like, if sound can do this and energy can change, like, what else is possible if we shared this with others in a way of like we're all finding our own healing modalities. That means that less medication, less kind of like feeling like you're broken when actually you've got it within you the whole way along to find your way and to find your people.
Yep, that's exactly right. Again, couldn't have said it better. Now, I want to take it back. Let's talk about your book. Tell us
Yeah.
about your book.
Yeah, so that was all that. So again, very serendipitous. I'm a
Yeah.
firm believer of just like going with the flow, trusting my intuition. It was something that I had never had a burning desire to say, I'm going to be a published author one day. This came from all of this coming together, meeting Marie Diamond, having the healing sessions, having these light bulb moments about focusing energy, all of this. And actually, it was one of my best friends who I was telling, she's like, Sarah, this is incredible. Like, this is your next chapter. This is your new beginning in the US. You have to do something with it. I was like, oh, funny you say that. I'm thinking of doing like different guides on creative feng shui, of like how you can set up your home for success, or how you can use feng shui for business, or how you can do all the, and I said, so I'm thinking of doing like these mini guides. And she was like, Sarah, I've been trying to make you write a book for the past 3 years. This is the book. You're not doing it in chapters. You're doing the whole thing. It is happening. I'm putting you on a deadline, and we're launching this for your birthday on a set date. And I was like, sounds like I have to do it. And that's, and it timed as well with COVID. So that kind of like gave me a purpose to kind of like stick to deadline on it. And it evolved and it opened up so many other ways, because I thought, oh, I'm going to have to have been an expert in my field for 10 years before I can even write a book about lifestyle or creative feng shui or intentional living. And you put these barriers in place of worthiness, not feeling good enough, not feeling established enough. And actually, what my friend did, she just eliminated all of that. She said, we are making this happen. And regardless of what stage, this is relevant for helping somebody that you might be 2 steps ahead of. And that's exactly what I had in mind of like, if this can help somebody that has just gone through that feeling of feeling lost, and at a point in their life where they might be turning 40 and they're like, what do I do next? What is this? What does this look like? If I can help somebody find their way, or just give a glimmer of belief, that's where the purpose of the book came. And it gives an insight on setting yourself up for success, setting your home for success, and also how to create an intentional vision. And it's called Live What You Love, for that very meaning.
Oh, I love that. So is this available? Where can people, and
Yeah,
bookstores,
yeah, I think
Amazon?
it's definitely in Barnes and Noble, but it's you can always find it on Amazon. So yeah, you can just type my name in, Sarah Stone, and Live What You Love, and it should come up. It's the pink book with the gold heart around it. So
Oh,
yeah, it's really it's not a like a life story or anything like that. It's a
mm,
kind of glossary. So how my clients tend to see it is that it's a refer guide. It's like it's always there to refer to if they want a tip for the season of like what they can bring into their home to raise the vibration, or what they can, how they can do. I say vision boards lightly, because I think they get a bad reputation and I've kind of changed it into, it's evolved into a soul vision and an
mm,
intentional vision, that actually it goes into the same directions as the Bagua map, which is within feng shui. So
mm.
it's like gives you a very purposeful way to put your vision, with written intentions by it as well. So it's not just pretty pictures of cars or a picture of a yacht or whatever. It's actually got real purpose and meaning behind it, with intentions at the top, and then the image that represents it, with a big photo of you right in the very middle. So you do 3 stages. You do your big hand up to the universe to say, hi, universe, I've got a message for you. I need to tell you something. This is what I want. Yeah, this is what I want, which is the intention. And this is what it looks like. And just in case there's any doubt whatsoever, this is what I look like, and this is where it's got to come to. So it gives a real strategy for you doing that intentional vision, rather than just sort of like randomly putting pictures in a pretty format.
Ooh, I love that. I can't wait to get your book. This is
Mhm.
amazing. It's funny because my fiance and I, we're doing, I was like, we need to make a vision board. Like, we both have so many goals. Let's make a vision board together. But I like this style. I like this. I'm glad we had this conversation before we did it.
Definitely. And when I see you, I will show you a soul vision that, because even if you don't put the pictures everywhere, you can actually just sort of like, if you're like, don't mind getting pens and pencils, like you can draw it out. Because unconsciously, 5 years ago, I drew a vision, not realizing that we'd moved to the US. I drew a home, I drew a garden. I even had it down to the detail of putting a shed right in the center of the lawn, very randomly. There's no coincidence in that, because then 5 years to the date, we had moved to the US. We didn't know where we were going to live. We came to view this very house, and in the very center of the lawn was a shed with the same pitched roof on it. And I was like, that's the vision. And that's what a vision board is for us. And I think that's how you can go a bit deeper. I know you're getting the
Full
feels.
body chills.
It was incredible, and there's a few stories like that there's no coincidences, that when you are aligned with your energy and you're aligned with your soul vision, there is no way that you can't manifest what is meant for you, because it will never ever ever pass you by. And although there may be some, excuse the language, but some shit storms that happen,
Yeah.
it's actually always for you. It's either a learning, a lesson, or a blessing. And I think that's
Mm-hmm.
the assurance that, do you know what, there's going to be seasons of hardship, there's going to be seasons of all of the things thrown at you all at once, and but knowing that the universe will only give you what you're capable of handling. One is the blessing right there, and two is the knowing of like, actually this is all for me. And I think when you can change your mindset from that, it gives a different perspective of you being able to cope with things better, to be able to be more balanced in your decisions, to be able to deal with things, and actually be a beacon for other people as well, of coming through it and showing how it's done. And I think, like, people like ourselves, we've got a responsibility to lead the way with light and love and compassion and all of the good stuff like that, that actually we have that ripple effect, not just here, but on a global scale.
I love that. So, as we wrap up, are there any words of wisdom that you would like to leave the listeners?
Ooh. So I would always just say that there is always a way, and that the a word that always comes, well, there's two words actually, is believe. Like, always believe that it's everything is there for you. And I think when you believe that, and the second word that backs that up is trust. Like, just trust that things will work out, it's there for you. And I think, like I say, that there is always a way. And if you can't kind of believe right now, borrow somebody else's belief, because there's always somebody that truly truly believes in you and what you're capable of.
I love that. And if you're listening to this podcast, this is your sign.
Absolutely.
So, Sarah, where can people find you?
Yeah, so there's two places. The main place at the moment where I'm sharing most of my content is via Intentional Living magazine, because there's some incredible articles on there. I know you're going to be having an article on there as well, so
So
that's
excited.
fab. So that's over on Instagram, which is Intentional Living Magazine, with the @sign, and obviously the website is the same, intentionallivingmagazine.com. So I'm sure I'll share all the links with the show notes for you as well.
Yes, we will have all of that in the show notes. Sarah, thank you so much. What a lovely conversation. This was so insightful. I mean, literally our frequencies are just lined up. We're just very aligned right now. So I'm so happy to have you on. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge.
You are so, so welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. All right, guys. If you like this episode, like, share, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.